old school, maybe within 5 or 10 years after they develop a new area.
Last person for this question is Lee.
For the existing traffic, we have many remedial measures we can take. For example, the synchronization of traffic signals should have been done a long time ago. And also the iShuttle is, we really need to expand that. For commuter, I commuted long ways to work too. And at the home site, you can drive to the station. But when you arrive to the place where you work, when you get off the train, what do? And the shuttle, iShuttle, is a really great feature for us to have. And also flexible working hours. I will work with the Chamber of Commerce and talking with businesses to implement flexible hours. In the company I work for salary employees, everybody can work anywhere from 6 a.m. to 9 a.m. Starting. So that's very important. However, that's only the symptom, as I said. We have to go to the root cause. That's better planning and have also keep the village concept. Thank you.
Next question. Which current or former elected official would you model yourself after, if elected, and why? The first person to answer is Gan.
It's kind of tough question. I probably would not model myself after any of the elected officials. I'm a very unique person myself. If you force me, I may be a combination of Christina Shea and Marissa Fox, the two of them combined together.
Next person is Lee.
I think this is not limited to city elected official, right? My model is Abraham Lincoln. Really need to work for the people and with high ethics and do all the things for people who elected you. So if I'm elected, I will do everything to represent your voice to make Irvine the best place. Thank you.
Next person is Jackie.
Thank you. You're doing a wonderful job, by the way. A former official would be Marianne Guido. She has been counseling me and helping me throughout this campaign. Her guidance is unsurpassed. She is one of the founding members of our city. She has worked diligently over the decades for our benefit, for all of us. She's brought so many programs. She's done a lot with affordable housing, inclusionary housing. She's just fantastic. So she has been helping a lot. She has done more than anybody really realizes behind the scenes as well as forward. But Marianne Guido will be the one for me.
Next person to answer the question is Kev.
This is a fun question. So I think the person that I identified, and this is who popped in my head immediately, is Ralph Bauer. He's a PhD chemist. He lives in Huntington Beach. He served on Huntington Beach City Council and mayor for 16 years. He approaches problems just like I do. Gotta get the facts and then do what's best for the community. And he had absolutely zero interest in higher elected office. He served his community and he went back to private life. He still comes to Huntington Beach City Council meetings at the age of 88 and tells them what he thinks they should do. I would be happy to serve. I can't do 16 years due to term limits, but I'd be happy to serve 12 and go back to just teaching and research and serve this community. Thank you.
Next person, John.
Very fun question. So my heroes are actually Abraham Lincoln and Winston Churchill, both presidents or Prime Minister in Winston Churchill's case, who served at a very difficult time, both in times of war, but stepped up in both scenarios and did the right thing. As far as locally elected officials, I would have to say personally, since we're combining people, as Gang said, I would like to combine former Mayor Suki Kang as well as former Mayor Dr. Choi. And for me personally, they're local heroes of mine because they broke the proverbial diversity glass ceiling in this city. Thank you.
Next person is Lauren.
My role model is California Board of Equalization member Fiona Ma. She is a practical and business-oriented and hardworking CPA who is leading in California, and I'm very proud to have her endorsement.
Next person is Carrie.
Thank you. I think, since we're combining folks, I will serve on the council in a unique manner. I think I bring just a different kind of thinking to the council, a deep thinking. I've worked for and with so many elected officials over the past 2 decades. I have to say, Senator Pat Bates is someone that I've known and respected for many years. I've had the pleasure of working with her when she was on the Board of Supervisors, and I do go way back with her to our junior league days in 1998 when we met as junior league of Orange County members. And what I admire, I think about a lot, I have so many elected officials I admire and respect, so that's a tough question to select just one. But I think having a public service background with a public policy background is what I want to bring, and I see that Senator Bates has done that, and others have done that, where you can truly take, I'm a CASA advocate, I'm a court-appointed special advocate, I'm a junior league member, and I want to take what I've done in the public service, listen to the residents, take my public policy background, and really mesh that together and be a deep thinker and find problem-solving solutions for our residents. Thank you.
Next person to answer is Anthony.
Thank you. I'm proud to be endorsed by over 3 dozen elected officials in our region, and the reason is because they understand what it takes to analyze these issues. So I don't want to hurt any of their feelings, so I won't say any of them. But the person that I think I would fashion myself after is Margaret Thatcher from Britain. And the reason was, one, she was a fighter. She took people on, she took corporations on, she took special interests on. But what she also did was, when she would be in meetings and she'd say, don't think I'm out of touch with the public. I know what butter costs. I know what milk costs. And so, not only do I have the ability and temperament to work with elected officials throughout this region, I get what we're feeling in Irvine. I grew up here, I drive our streets every day, I take my friends' kids to the park. I'm not out of touch. I know what butter costs too.
Next person, Farah.
So I think anyone that decides to run for public office has the intention of bringing something good. And I feel that every person that has served on our city council has brought some unique qualities. And maybe not so unique qualities, but no one is perfect. And so I feel that I would probably take into consideration some of the good qualities that I've seen in our previous local leaders. I think there's a lot of good stuff out there. There's a lot of improvement, room for improvement, and we definitely have time to do that right now because we are at a crossroads in our city of seeing where we're going to be in the next 10, 20, 30 years, and the decisions we make today are going to reflect that. But if I have to name a name, I think one of the best people that I look up to is our state controller, Betty Yee, who has endorsed me and is coming next Friday. So if you want to come see her, come see me.
Last person for this question is Frank.
I'm currently reading a book about George Washington written by the same author that wrote Hamilton, that started the play that's been doing so well. So if I were to pick someone, Washington would be as good as any. He was very effective in convicting members of our founding fathers away from each other's throats for serving the best interests of the country. But having said that, I really don't have a model. I am my own man, and I don't try to pretend I'm somebody else. I want to be the best person I can in terms of representing and serving the citizens of Irvine.
Next question. Which is your position on sanctuary city? Did we get it? What is your position? The first person to answer is Frank.
I think that sanctuary cities is a complicated situation that we should look largely to the police department to see how they move on, what their opinions are. We have a very diverse community, and I want to keep the harmony and the diversity in Irvine alive and do whatever it takes to serve the best interest of doing that.
Carrie.
Thank you. So my father immigrated to this country when he was 12 years old. He and his family went through all necessary documentation to become United States citizens. I am against SB 54 because I don't believe Sacramento should limit a city's ability to govern itself and remove local control. SB 54 hinders law enforcement from being able to fully protect our city and enforce federal immigration laws. My goal is to keep Irvine safe and protect local control. I think the local control issue here is key, and that we need to retain our local control as a city and be able to really know what's best for Irvine as a city and really work within our city with our police department and give them the resources and tools that they need to protect us every day. Thank you.
Ken, next.
So this is a really timely issue. So if you care about this issue, the City Council, due to the Mayor's request, is looking at challenging SB 54, the California Values Act. I support the California Values Act because it protects our communities. It is something that law enforcement professionals like Chief Lee Beck at LAPD, former chief, support, as well as many other law enforcement professionals. Why do they support it? Because for centuries, local law enforcement had nothing to do with federal immigration law. And the reason for that is that you don't want to have the situation where somebody is afraid to call the police because a crime occurred and because of their immigration status. We need to protect the immigrant communities here at UCI as well, where we have over 600 dreamers, and we cannot have it that they cannot call Irvine PD.
Next person, Anthony.
Thank you. I believe that the sanctuary city issue is a state and federal issue. Actually, it's a federal issue that the state has weighed in on, and for a third level of government to enter into it just mucks it up completely. That's not to say that I don't have a personal opinion about it. My personal opinion is that what the sanctuary city policy does is, after someone is already arrested for a crime, then do local authorities cooperate with federal authorities. I don't support the local authorities cooperating with federal authorities prior to a crime occurring, but I do afterwards.
Farah.
With 50% of our population from immigrant families, with so many students here in Irvine, whether they're at our local public schools, our Irvine Valley College, or other colleges, or at UCI, what SB 54 does is it protects local communities, and that's what we need to stand for it. We cannot afford to have our current police that thrives on community building become immigrant officers. That is something we do not need in the city. We need to make sure that our federal government does their job and our local government does their job. And our job is to serve the public. It is to protect the public and make sure that they feel safe and comfortable here in Irvine. And that's why I'm for SB 54.
Next. Again.
I'm against SB 54 because it does not make sense if this criminal is an illegal alien. We should just report to the federal government and deport them. There's no question about it. I'm all for protecting our citizens and so on. And I believe a few weeks ago, city of Huntington Beach or another city actually sued the state and won in court. Basically, the state has absolutely no control over the charter city's power. It's an unconstitutional decision by the state to pass SB 54. I'm against it.
Next person, Lauren.
As I mentioned, as a public safety candidate who's been endorsed by not only fire, but our Irvine Police Association, I've spoken with police officers in our city about this issue. And, Chief Hamill has himself said, we do not need to oppose SB 54 to keep this city safe. Our officers are not enforcing federal law, regardless of whether this shows up on a city council agenda. It's extremely unlikely that they will.
Next person is Jackie.
Thank you. Well, as a son who works in LA, things are different there than they would be here. SB 54, I think we need to follow the lead of Irvine Police Department. Chief Hamill has a handle on it. I think we are the safest city now. I know we are. 13 years in high crimes. So I think following what the Irvine Police Department has to say and what they do, they're the professionals, and I think they've done a good job so far. So I will continue to do that.
Next one is Lee.
The criteria for this question is public safety. What does it have effect on our public safety? And as to law, this is settled law 100 years ago, and really, just raising this question is divisive. And this should not be a question for the city. It's between state and the federal government. And for our city, as the police chief has said, either with it or without it, ours doesn't really affect urban safety. It does, we will take action at that time.
Next, John.
So as a matter of a personal opinion, I'm actually against SB 54. But I'll say the same thing that I said at the last forum, which is I think this issue is a nothing burger in Irvine. And the reason why I say that is because, again, being America's safest city, this is just a political issue. It's meant to divide, and it doesn't belong here in our city. I might have a different opinion about SB 54 than others because, yes, it's a federal and state matter, and they're going to duke it out in the court systems, and they're going to tell us where it's going to land eventually. But one of the reasons why I'm against SB 54 and not dealing with it in Irvine is because I believe it's a local issue as well. And in our city, this is not an issue. It shouldn't be politicized. It shouldn't be used to divide us. In fact, we just shouldn't be talking about it. Thank you.
We have time for our last question. So this question is the last question, and then we go into closing statement. I'll state the question first. What is your vision for 100 acres county land at the Great Park? First person to answer is Frank.
I'm running with 3 other people that we call ourselves the No on B team. And the 3 of us, regarding the Veterans Park, made a public statement that I'm going to read you once I put on my glasses. We pledge to fulfill the mandate of our historic June 5th No on B victory. If we are elected on November 6th and granted the privilege to serve at our first City Council meeting, we will introduce and adopt a resolution to immediately begin construction of the Great Park Veteran Cemetery at its original planned, funded, and approved site. That is my position about the Great Park.
Next person, Lauren.
I think that we should finish construction of the Great Park. I'm looking forward to us having a California History Museum, Orange County Fire Museum, a world-class library, botanical gardens, permanent amphitheater, and a water park at the Great Park. And on the land that is county land, that is zoned for the type of government and county services that serve residents.
Next person, Lee.
The Great Park has been the highlight for Irvine, and it will be for the future. We're ready to build out. Now we have several really excellent sports facilities. We need to finish the cultural terrace and all the other structures. And for the county land where they are owned, that we really need to work with the county to find a good purpose for it. Otherwise, as a county, we use that against our city for a long time, and either try to put homeless over there, or tents over there, or have a huge high density development. That's have a big effect in Irvine. We really need to sit down and work with county government to have find a good purpose.
Next, Jackie.
Thank you. Well, I think some people are afraid that they're going to build a tent city out there, and I don't think they are. But our vision for the 100 acres, I think, includes a lot of administrative buildings, the things that the county is allowed to do. We need to work in conjunction with the county. But I agree with what Frank said about, and I'm going to pivot back to the great park is going to take 25 to 50 years to build out. That's what any great park really does. But we want to build a cemetery, keep it out of the hands of the developer on Irvine Boulevard. Because if we do that, we get two things to happen. We get the Veteran Cemetery and Memorial Park, and we don't have 812,000 square feet with mixed use with 10,000 more cars on the road. So that's a bigger concern. Thank you.
Next person, again.
We are talking about two lands here. One is the 100 acre around the 5 freeway. I think county owned land. So right now, city is suing the county for trying to put in a lot of commercial use, generate a lot of traffic over our city. So we'll continue the lawsuit, try to either we offer to buy that piece of land and make it part of Great Park, or continue our lawsuit and try to prevent them putting a lot of cars on the street. On the cemetery issue, I think this is a very highly controversial issue. It's very simple. There are different opinions between the veterans group and within the citizens. Can do a poll, and if they want to build it at the other side, that's fine, but we want to make sure the taxpayer knows